Nose click. On the main menu for Five Nights at Wario's Origins, you can actually click Wario's nose and then he says this. Hey! I think it's pretty funny, but WW Wario obviously didn't agree as this was removed in version 2. Toad's Diary. In Five Nights at Wario's 3, in Living Room 3, you might see a book on the table. Well, if you click the book, you can actually read it, and it is Toad's Diary. I'm not going to read it because it's really long, but you can pause the video and read it. Boss Mode. Once you beat the whole Five Nights at Wario series, you can actually unlock a new multiplayer mode, which is Boss Mode, where one of you controls a player and the other controls Emma. Five Nights at Wario's Remastered. In 2016, there was going to be a game called Five Nights at Wario's Remastered, made by a 64th gamer with permission from WW Wario. The phone guy is actually voiced by Luigi Kid as well. Sadly though, the game was only released in a Night 1 demo as it was unfortunately cancelled. Nightmare Wario. In the first version of Five Nights at Wario's 4, Nightmare Wario actually had a different design. It was likely changed because he looks a bit too much like Wario in the older version. Luigi's absence. Luigi seems to be by far the most absent character, as he's not only not in Five Nights at Wario's 2, but he only appears on Night 3 in Five Nights at Wario's Origins. Waluigi glitch. In Five Nights at Wario's Origins, Waluigi is supposed to kill you if you shine your light at him for too long. If you're invisible though, it won't. However though, even if you're not invisible, Waluigi still won't kill you sometimes, mostly in the lounge. This has happened to me many times. Yoshi in the kitchen. In Five Nights at Wario's 3, in the kitchen, Yoshi was originally going to be active. However though, this idea was scrapped. Mario in the entrance and machinery. In Five Nights at Wario's 1, if Mario isn't in your computer, he can actually be seen in the entrance from when he becomes active. And in Five Nights at Wario's 2, he can also be seen in the machinery. However though, he can be seen from Night 2, even though he isn't active until Night 5. Wyoming incident. At the beginning of 2018 mode in Five Nights at Wario's Origins, creepy music can be heard. That is actually music heard in a broadcast interruption from 2007 known as the Wyoming incident, which is actually a slowed down and reversed version of the WGBH theme. Night 7 is impossible. In version 1 of Five Nights at Wario's Origins, the custom night was considered by many to be impossible. Even the game salmon himself said it was impossible. However though, it actually isn't, it's just really hard. There has been a few people that have beaten it. This was nerfed drastically in version 2. Rosalina. In Five Nights at Wario's Origins, if you press the on button a certain amount of times, then Rosalina will actually appear on your monitor. She will disappear once you switch cams. Peach can't kill you. In version 3 of Five Nights at Wario's 1, Peach is holding a piece of the key, and once you press it, then you get that piece. However, what you might not know is that while Peach is having this, she actually can't kill you. I actually set her to 20 and she didn't even kill me once, she just left after a short amount of time. This could be quite useful information for beating the custom night. Emma at the door. In Five Nights at Wario's 1, there is a rare chance that you might see Emma at the door. She can't kill you. Mario in Living Room 3. Much like with Yoshi, Mario was originally going to appear in Living Room 3, however though, he was removed. I can imagine this was because it would make Living Room 3 way too difficult. Waluigi was Wario. Originally, Waluigi and Wario were supposed to have the exact same movement pattern, however though, that would have made there less variety. Luigi Crash. In Five Nights at Wario's 4 on Night 3, Luigi will crash your game. But what does this mean? It's never really given any explanation. Now, Luigi becomes active on Night 3 as well, but that doesn't really explain this mysterious event. bathroom closet. In a scrap mechanic in Five Nights at Wario's Origins, someone, it wasn't said who, was supposed to come out of the closet, and that was going to be a game mechanic. However though, like many things on this video, this was scrapped. Movable trophies. A scrap mechanic in Five Nights at Wario's 2 would allow you to move your trophies around the office. Virus Luigi is 9'4". If I were to guess Virus Luigi's height, I would say he's probably average man height. But then you notice that he's actually bending down quite a lot with his really long legs. And I worked out that approximately if he stood up, he would be 9'4", which is 5 inches taller than Robert Wadlow, the tallest man to ever live. Quest mode in Five Nights at Wario's Origins. This was a scrap mechanic that was later moved to Five Nights at Wario's 4. I wonder what quest mode would have been like in Five Nights at Wario's Origins. Wario's teeth. A big game mistake that you might have missed in Five Nights at Wario's 1 is that in some cameras Wario is missing 2 teeth, however in some he has all of his teeth. Not sure why WW Wario didn't bother keeping him just normal if he didn't want to edit the teeth out in all cameras. The storage. In Five Nights at Wario's 1, have you ever noticed how weird of a room the storage actually is? It looks like Wario is huge in this room, but then you might think this room's pretty damn small. Well actually, the lights probably wouldn't be this low down. Also, in the background you can see a chair and a doorway. Also, what even is it on the wall? What even is that? It looks like a really big room, but also a very small room. I don't really understand this. This is very interesting. Where are you in Five Nights at Wario's 4? When you wake up between nights, you seem to be in... I don't even know what this is, but there seems to be an aircon or something. Are you sleeping in the car or something? Where actually are you? Because to me, this doesn't look like a bedroom. Paranormal events. Once you beat Night 5 in Five Nights at Wario's Origins, it is said that Wario's was closed forever, as the paranormal events did not stop. So, was there more? What happened then? Did Bowser come? Did Yoshi come? What actually happens after you beat Night 5? What more stuff happened? Waluigi is the phone guy. In Five Nights at Wario's Origins, the phone guy never mentions Waluigi, or anyone, no one mentions Waluigi at all actually. Maybe it's because the phone guy is Waluigi, considering how he's also running the place, and who else would be working here? Yeah, exactly, I think it's Waluigi. Grey Key. In Five Nights at Wario's Origins version 1, the Grey Key can actually be found in the basement on Night 4. Yes, you may not know that, but it's actually true. So it's possible that there's actually a scrap mechanic related to this key that was later brought back in version 2. However though, wouldn't he just take it out entirely? It's really interesting. Why is this there? And before you say it was obviously added into version 1, no, because this can actually be seen at the end of the game Samuel's playthrough, which was recorded not long after the game came out. Hide and seek. In Five Nights at Wario's Origins, there is a scrapped content of a hide and seek game mode that apparently involves Luigi. Now, I would imagine this would be some fun with plush trap like thing, but it's interesting. There isn't really any information on this except for the fact that Luigi was going to be the enemy. Flumpty Bumpty. Flumpty Bumpty can be seen in Five Nights at Wario's Origins in the basement. His music can also be heard on the radio in Five Nights at Wario's 4. Now, this is obviously supposed to be an Easter egg, but is it? Does Flumpty Bumpty have anything to do with the lore of Five Nights at Wario's? Maybe. We might find out in future updates of 5 shows of Wario's. Doors in Five Nights at Wario's 2. This is likely the inspiration for Classic Mode, as Five Nights at Wario's 2 was originally going to have the same door mechanic. I can guess that the reason why it was removed is because, well, it would basically just be another FNAF 1 clone, and they suck. One door. In Five Nights at Wario's 1, there was originally going to be one door, and no one would actually come through a window. This is very interesting, and it was cut for obvious reasons. The game would be way too easy. Lump of coal in toilet. In daytime quests in Five Nights at Wario's 3, a lump of coal can be found in a toilet. Yeah, that's not a lump of coal. To me, it sounds an awful lot like a lump of shit.